All right. Hey, everyone. So, in this lesson, we are going to study sleeves and as much as we can. Now, I'm not gonna, I am gonna put a number on it, but for some of these at least, what I want you to do is what I'm gonna demonstrate right now. So, from one of the sleeve studies that you'll be doing, and I have this sleeve, you can see it up here in the video. What I just want you to do first and foremost is study and copy the sleeve. So that's what we're going to do right now. And when you're doing this, you will need to, of course, think for yourself, make notes, and see if you really understand the fold you're studying or the folds that are present on this sleeve, right? So this is more of a, let's say, a Victorian shirt. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw the sleeve the way I think it is behaving onto this body, depending on how this woman is, holding her arm. So we have the seam of the shirt like this. And then we have the shoulder. And we basically go out into a half lock. Right, and this half lock wraps around. So it has some thickness. And then it kind of almost gets forced into a half lock and a spiral fold. And then it compresses together because of the nature of how it is built. And it fans out into these very simple pipe folds. And because this is a thin but rather hard piece of fabric, right? So it's probably, rigid cotton or something. Those angles feel a little bit more angular because there's more resistance from the folds themselves. It's not like silk. Now we have the wrist coming out of it. All right, so all of this gets compressed. And then we have the elbow. So the arm is going up and it's basically sitting around here. So the elbow should be somewhere around here. So that creates a point of tension, right? That's important to know. So this point of tension is creating this drop fold that we're seeing. Which is compressing into these zigzag folds. And then we have some points of tension coming from the shoulder, which is also just because of the way this thing is fabricated literally into the seams. And then we have, because this is not really form-fitting, right, this sleeve, it's basically just falling down, right? So I could have made this a little bit more angular. I wish I did. I'm gonna do it regardless. Right, and then so because it's not fitting around the arm perfectly, it's basically just falling down, right? Gravity is pulling it down, so that's another point of tension. So gravity is pulling it down, and because we have that half lock, because of all of that compression coming down onto the arm that is sitting underneath, right? So let me draw that in pink. So we have the arm basically over here. So that fabric is crushing onto that arm. So it creates this half lock. So it's being pulled down. And this creates another point of compression, basically. Where the drapery is kind of folding onto itself. And then we have some very subtle zigzag folds. Like this, because of all that compression that is happening in this corner. All right, and this is where shape language will definitely help you. So I haven't exaggerated this yet, and we'll do that when we talk about stylization. But now I'm just analyzing what's happening here, right? I'm not super concerned yet with getting pretty lines or getting some sort of style, let's say. That's not the idea yet. But when we get into stylization, I would definitely, even when you simplify this, I would have a straight going into that elbow, then have a harsh line to indicate that elbow, creating that point of tension. And then I would have a softer curve back into where we have that compression, right? And then would have another harsh line and maybe a little bit more of a softer line, if I were to stylize this. Because it really creates a visual understanding of where we have points of tension and where we just have gravity pulling things down. Let's use some line weight. All right, so this is what I want you to do as well, guys. I want you to really analyze, like fold per fold, if you have to, what is going on when you're studying your sleeves. Like, why is it acting the way it is? And once you get a good grasp on, you know, diaper fold, drop fold, pipe fold, and you understand how they behave, it becomes easier to understand why folds act the way they do. And then it also becomes easier to simplify them. All right, so this is what I want you to do for at least 10 sleeves, right? So I want you to analyze, and you can write down notes next to every point of compression, point of tension that you think is happening, why it's creating, a half lock here, zigzag folds here, pipe folds there, right? That's a great, extra layer of understanding that you'll do for yourself. So at least 10, and they need to be from at least 4 different eras, right? So let's write that down. So we want a minimum of 10 studies, right? Studies. And we want it to be from a minimum of 4 different eras. And on top of that, I want you to, from those 10, I want you to draw at least 3 of them again in a foreshortened view. Right, so out of those 10, 3 should be drawn foreshortened. So what that means is I want you to look at a sleeve like this, which is, I'll admit, is a very complex one. And I'm not going to force you to foreshorten the most complex ones. but at least 3 of them that you're studying, you should draw them in a foreshortened view. So make sure that these at least 3, but I would suggest more sleeves that you're going to study have either an arm straight forward, like up or forward, or bent like you're seeing here. If you just have a neutral arm hanging down, you cannot draw a foreshortened view of that, right? It's just, you cannot, if you do a bottom view, yeah, but it's not going to make any sense. So I want you to, at least draw, or at least look for 3 different references that have a bent arm or a straightened arm, so that you can apply that foreshortening. All right, so, and there you go. This is what I want you to do. I want you to do 10 of these studies, really breaking down how that you can understand the different types of folds you see present in one of these sleeves, right? And it should be sleeves from at least 4 different types of eras, right? So this can be modern, right? That's absolutely no problem. This can be medieval, this can be Victorian, this can be Renaissance, whatever you can think of, but it should be from at least 4 different eras. And out of those 10 studies that you're going to do, you're going to redraw 3 of them in a foreshortened view. Right? That's going to be your assignment. So quite a handful, and it's really going to force you to, build your visual library when it comes to sleeves. And again, it doesn't all have to be these baggy sleeves, right? It can be a very tight modern shirt. It can be, a modern hoodie, just the sleeve of a modern hoodie. It can be a jacket, it can be a woolen, coat, it can be a winter coat. Can it be anything you want, right? Basically, usually it's going to be, things that interest you, but it's going to be at least 10 of these, right? And then you can move on to the next lesson. All right, so have fun with this assignment, and I'll see you in the next one.